Hello everyone, in today's video we'll be taking a look at the game room's props. These are just props, so there's only one overview level. This is the chalkboard, dominoes clock. It's worth noting that these props, they don't have any functionalities in them. They're just props, like an arcade machine. And a football table, or I don't know, is it called football table? And another thing to notice is that there are two versions of these. The functional parts are separated, and these are just blueprint prefabs, by the way. This table tens with the rackets, you can see the texture on the rackets. And an air hockey table. Once again, these are just props, there are no functional parts in them. And a billiard board, very nice texturing. The lamp and the small balls, you can see they are good enough vertices count that for their small size you cannot see sharp edges. These are the cue sticks. Some sofas, chairs, table, and the backgammon board. You can see the individual pieces, and also chessboard and dominoes, and almost lastly checkers and poker table. These are the chips, deck of cards, and they're not individual cards, just the deck. You can see on the lighting only view mode, along with the collision is very nice. It's pretty accurate. I mean, it's advertised as VR ready, so the collision should match it. Not the most performant, but generally very good, and the details are from normal maps mostly. I mean, with such collision, anyone could make a pretty good interactive game without worrying too much about collision. And we can also see the net on the table tennis is using opacity. This is the wireframe, generally not the very high poly, but enough to give it not so sharp edge. As for the folder structure, we got the meshes, which are divided into each individual types. Prefab, which contain all the blueprints combined, which is very nice. And the texturing and materials are in one. And the map as well. Looking at the dimensions of the texture, we got 74 4K, 56 2K, 1256, and 2128. Some of it, or very few, two of them have alpha channels. They're mostly used for opacity. And it doesn't use none by default, and the vertices are generally below 20,000. The table uses more than 100K, and few do have more than one material. There are no LODs and no extra UV channels, and I mean extra unused UV channels. As for the material, we got 5 master materials and 45 material instances. They don't have customization whatsoever, just basic textures. And there are usually just base color, normal map, and ORM packed into one. As for the UVs, you can see it's being shared by more than a mesh there. The texture is being shared by more than a mesh. The same goes for most of the parts. And for like this half part of the chessboard, we can see some parts are being reused on the same UV space, which is nice to see. However, there is like a few wasted space, especially with something like these rackets. And the same also true for some of the material slots on meshes that have more than one material slot, so not for all of them. This one is because it's being shared by other meshes, which can have an advantage if you're using nanite. Also, there is emissive for that one. but yeah, some wasted spaces here and there. As for the material slots, for this arcade machine, as an example, we can see the material slot, the main machine, the joysticks haven't been separated, but they're just part of the same mesh. The screen and the glass, I actually do like those two having their own material slots. Just wish the joysticks were also separated. Same for the board, has many material slots. And I'm not showing it here, but like individual parts are there, especially for the table, the football table. And the UVs on this table 10 is actually good, although it's not being mirrored on both sides. They're just using the same for all of it. As for the dominoes, yeah, for each piece it's using a part of one texture, like an atlas. And for the web page, we can see this is the page. The folder size is about 1.3 gigabytes, and the price usually is around 25 USD. It's a fairly good pack with no functionality, but that's to be expected because it's in the props category. There are blueprint prefabs included. It has very nice collision. That's, I would say, is VR ready. Separated functional parts for most of it. I mean, the arcade joysticks and button were not included. Some parts of the UVs are being reused. On the downside, there are no material customization. Some materials have wasted UV space. Hope you found this useful. Peace out.